six C's. The six C's, what is very important for for an HR practitioner to be effective in this kind of a transformation, whether you call it as whether curiosity, you call it as credibility, confidence, courage, connectedness, and capability. So how well the HR team is able to understand the business, is able to have that kind of a confidence by way of connectedness with the financial literacy, with the able to apply all of
just to begin, dynamic world where there's constant disruption, human capital issues must be viewed as business issues, which human capital is going to help, and not just issues for HR itself. There are going to be major shifts in mindsets, roles, capabilities, all of that. And to stay relevant and add value, HR as a function also must transform. That's something that we all know. The old model was, of course, we would identify an error, try and fix it. But now it has to be a constant thought through effort of how we transform.
Transformation, take an end-to-end view to whatever enterprise function you want to change. The second learning and reflection I've had is that just because everybody is doing it does not mean you have to do it, right? We have this whole thing of A, everything that glitters is gold, and B, we always believe grass is greener on the other side. The end-to-end approach to your process, think about experiences of people. What will you do to make their operations either efficient or effective? And when they do what they are supposed to do, the end user who consumes the output of that effort, will they appreciate what you're doing? Now, if that answer is yes, then work backwards to say, okay, keep the consumer or the end user at the center of this change. Look back and say, I'm taking an end-to-end view of how this whole value chain operates. And then I'm saying, what should I change in my process? What should I change in my policy? What should I change in the way I go ahead and deploy these processes and policy using technology? And then say which is the technology that works for us. The design thinking approach, really look at the human-centered innovation approach. Probably your chances of sustaining the transformation journey will be higher. We overemphasize the importance of technology in transformation. The most underestimated component of this transformation journey is people. So you might get the best technology, best process, best policy, and then you don't think about the basic core skills of the people who will use that technology or follow that process. And we don't spend enough time thinking about their training, their alignment. Have to help people understand that the change is for good. So spend time enabling them, teaching them, making them comfortable, helping them see what's in it for them. And just because people are able to do it does not mean people will be willing to do it. So focus inordinate amount of time on encouraging them, build role models, see the leaders walk the talk. And if you do these four things well, your probability of being successful will be a little higher.
Though the word transformation is a very loosely used word, like many other management items, or terminologies or semantics or whatever it is, it's not easy to gain transformation. And if the expectation is that I'm going to transform the function or transform the way we work, we do things overnight, it's not going to happen. And even if it happens, it's not a sustainable one, right? Strategy, as they say, has an element of timing, an element of surprise, and an element of sustainability. No strategy, no transformation is transformation if it is not sustainable. Unfortunately, we don't go back to what you said, Shalu, right? I mean, maybe just 8% of the success stories is what we read about, and not reading the 92% of the people who said that they have transformed but have fallen back into darker zones. Because as a function, and it's not meant to be possibly. I'm not saying, whether we do it or not, but it's not meant to be, because it's a very experiential art. And I think the key takeaway, therefore, is to understand the small transformations that the organization or the organon, it comes from the Greek word called organon, the machine, right? As the machine moves, as the organon moves, what are the moving parts? What are the sounds that we hear? What are the signals that we pick up in the organization to be able to do that transformation? I think that is where the function has value, rather than, how much artificial intelligence we have brought in, how much benefits we have rolled out, and so on and so forth. So rather than gatekeepers of an organization, I think we are transformation keepers of that organization. And I think our alertness and our readiness for transformation is to lead the organon in terms of reading those signals, in terms of small Kaizen changes that are required to do the transformation in the long run.
We got to learn about the transformation as a concept, and also at the same time how we as HR fraternity need to look at it from our journey perspective. Let me bring in the experiential context to it in a form of story. And that story is the real life story, which I got into 3 years back. So the company I joined, I worked with, and I joined 3 years back as a legacy organization, was they actually looked at the situation from an OD mindset than the HR mindset. And I began with the process of diagnosing the organization to find out what the real situation or pulse of the organization was. That just before I joined in 2018, we had already acquired a company which realized that there was 2 non-integrated entities which were in existence. We had inconsistencies from our policies, from a mini organization culture, because we were making decisions which were decentralized decisions across the business units, and those were pretty inconsistent to each other, resulting into different culture experiences to people. Our HR function maturity was at some level which was not definitely the optimum level of maturity we had. We had systems and people services maturity, which was. So what we got into after that diagnostic thing was, the first thing, what we got into as a first important thing that point in time was to diagnose and also define the culture and shared set of beliefs. We got into culture dig initiative, evolved what kind of behaviors and values and beliefs we were to get into. The important thing was mirror on the wall, right? So it was very important that to have the mirror reflection of what our people feel and think about the organization. Building the stronger and competent HR team. Automation was very important, whether we call it digital technology focused processes or automating the work initiatives where HR really influences the decision in the organization. But the biggest question is, have we completed the transformational journey? And my answer is no, we are in the journey. We are still yet not there. And as Saurav was mentioning, that happened overnight. All the efforts which you put in transforming the organization. Again,
any organization, we cannot say that the Transformation Center of Excellence is the team that drives change. Every single employee of that organization drives the change. But yes, the strategy around it is truly what that Center of Excellence brings in a meaningful way. One of the big examples of transformation that I see today is decluttering, simplification. To use a human-centric approach, what you look at is maximum impact with minimum intervention, right? And that's what when you talk about people experience, very interestingly, I recently heard people experience being described as when you can drive people processes as intuitively as people use WhatsApp. Now, that may be a bit of an oversimplification, but you get the spirit of it, right? So one is this whole piece of simplification. Is this whole shift that has happened from ratings, bell curves to continuous feedback, right? I don't have ratings. We don't have ratings that are published. We don't have ratings that are discussed back end either, right? Managers are given budgets for compensation decisions, and that's how they take those decisions. And yes, managerial discretion and skill set development is definitely a focus area. But this itself represents an example of transformation. Work from home, which has become more and more real in the post-COVID world, right? The intent is you can be backpacking and spend 5 or 6 hours doing the job that you need to do with the requisite security requirements around you, and you get the job done. And more organizations today are talking about having a strong tech backbone in place to enable that working, right? So when I think of transformation, to me, it's about putting the horse ahead of the cart and not the cart ahead of the horse. Technology is the cart. It is not the horse. And potentially organizations that tend to do it slightly more effectively than others are putting that horse before the cart.